You're watching Chicago Bears Now. I'm your host, Harrison Graham. It is mailbag time, and hey, the only way to be a part of our mailbags, watch our live shows every Tuesday, 4 o'clock Eastern, 3 o'clock Central Time here on Chicago Bears Now. We'll go ahead and kick things off with a super chat from Joseph, easiest way to get on the show. If AR leaves, who's your top wide receiver to draft? So let's say the Bears, let's just say they go 8-8. This is hypothetical, of course. Probably going to be drafting 16, 17, somewhere in there, somewhere in the mid-teens, depending on how other teams finish up, obviously. You're not going to get Jamar Chase in that range. I don't think you're going to get Devontae Smith in that range. So maybe you're looking at a guy like Rashad Bateman out of Minnesota. Jalen Waddle might slide a little bit, the other Bama receiver, because he obviously had the injury this year and has missed some time. A lot of it will depend how he progresses. Chase is the best in the draft, and I think Smith is number 2. But I think those guys could go top 10. Hopefully they just extend AR. You guys know what to do. Hashtag extend AR in the comments. But, yeah, those are some names to keep in mind. Round 2 guy, how about Rondale Moore? Speedy41, should we re-sign Mitch Trubisky? TBD, right? Like, I think you got to see what happens the next 2 games. I fully expect him to play well and beat the Jaguars here in Week 16. What happens in Week 17, especially if the Packers play their starters? Can Mitchell Trubisky go toe-to-toe with Aaron Rodgers in a must-win game? I want to see him do that. If he can, I might give him a 1-year deal and see what happens next year, especially if this team makes the playoffs. But if he flames out the final 2 weeks, I think you have your answer. Kendall Marshall, name that athlete. Can the Bears trade Nick Foles this offseason? They can. 2 years and like $17 million left on his contract. I mean, you're not going to get a 4th for him, which is what you traded to get him. Could you get a 6th? Like, I don't know. How about this idea? Philadelphia moves on from Carson Wentz, and they need a backup for Jalen Hurts. They know Nick Foles very well. Get a 6th from Philly? Maybe. Nick Foles did some okay things, but overall, the problem with him is you have to have a stellar offensive line because he might be the least mobile quarterback in the NFL. I didn't realize how immobile he was until I watched him for about 6 or 7 games this year, and I was like, holy crap, he's a statue back there. That was not always the case for Nick Foles, but now he can't move at all, so he has to be in a really good situation to succeed. He's obviously had success in Philadelphia with Doug Peterson, so maybe that could be a fit for him, but I don't think teams are interested in Nick Foles at this point in time. 2 years, $17 million left on that deal. I don't think it's very likely that he gets traded this offseason, mostly because I don't think teams want him. So what should the Bears do with Foles? If you think they can trade him, type T for trade him, or maybe you just want to keep him, type K for keep him. I think the likely scenario is they keep him, but because they can't find a trade partner for him, so I'm going to type my K for keep. But if you can get a 6th-round pick for him, hell, trade him. Type your T for trade. Got another super chat coming in from Nick Gonzalez. Appreciate it, my man. Are we Packers fans this week in Easy Week 17? Yes, you're Packers fans this week because you want the Packers to clinch the number 1 seed, which they can do if they win and the Seahawks lose this week, which means they would probably rest their starters against the Bears in Week 17. So, yes, you should be pulling for the Packers this week as they take on the Tennessee Titans on Sunday Night Football. That's how things sit in the NFC playoff picture right now. You don't want to face a full-throttle Green Bay team that is playing for the number 1 seed because that's going to be a tough ask against Aaron Rodgers. We know the history between the Bears and Packers, especially since Rodgers has been their quarterback. It has not gone well. So, yes, if you could possibly avoid Aaron Rodgers in Week 17, you should absolutely be willing to cheer for Green Bay to get that result. Next up is Alan Mack. Bears cut Bobbie Massie. Maybe you can't save quite as much money by cutting him compared to Charles Leno at left tackle. I definitely would cut Leno. And sure, if you feel good about Bars at right tackle potentially, yeah, cut Bobbie Massie too, free up some cap space, and go sign some depth offensive linemen or go continue to beef up this offense. Brownies next up here, 2021 free agent wide receivers to sign if Allen Robinson walks. Okay, so you guys asked about draft picks. Oh, gosh, I'm trying to think of free agents. I mean, Robinson's clearly the top wide receiver free agent here. I can just try to pull it up here real quick. 2021 free agents. Let's see. I mean, you're not going to go get a guy like Antonio Brown or Josh Gordon. Obviously, those guys are going to be free agents there. Honestly, I need to look at the list and see who else is out there. I know a lot of you guys have asked, what about an OBJ trade? What about Julio Jones? I'll continue to say this. Just re-sign the guy you have. Like, this shouldn't be that hard. Like, you have a number one receiver who's 27 years old. Just re-sign him. Another super chat from Noah. Let's see. How catastrophic was losing Tarik Cohen? I think it did hurt for a while because Nick Foles is a quarterback who likes to throw to running backs, and I think that did hurt while he was in there. At this point, though, David Montgomery's been really good, including in the receiving game. I don't consider it a huge loss. It's a loss, but I think the Bears have figured things out without him over the past few weeks. Imagine him coming back next year because they did extend him. Monty and Tarik Cohen, that has the potential to be one of the best 1-2 punches of thunder and lightning in the NFL at the running back position. Brandon Rydell, who do you think will be our starting quarterback next year? This is the $64,000 question for you folks who used to watch Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. This is what we all want to know. Who is going to be the Bears starting quarterback? I'll ask you guys as well. It's a tough question. I honestly think, it's weird to say this, but I think Ryan Pace, Matt Nagy, and Mitchell Trubisky's jobs in Chicago could all be on the line in the next 2 weeks. I know that's hyperbolic, but I think it's true. Like, if the Bears win out and make the playoffs, everybody might be back. If they don't, those three could all be gone, or at least some of them could be. So who do you think will be the starting quarterback next season? I'm going to throw a shot in the dark. If I had to say today, I'm going to say Mitch Trubisky. I think he will be your week one starter as of now, but what's true today is not true tomorrow. One of my mentors taught me that, especially in sports. Things change quickly, but let me know what you guys think. Our sports betting partner is Bet Rivers, and if you feel good about the Bears this week against the Jags, put your money where your mouth is at chatsports.com/betil or chatsports.com/betin. You can sign up and deposit from anywhere and receive that 100% deposit match for up to $250. But to actually place a bet, here's the catch. Must be in the state of Indiana or in Illinois. So for you Indiana folks, it's chatsports.com/betin. For you Illinois folks, it's chatsports.com/betil. I love the Bears -7.5 against Jacksonville this week. I don't think the Jags can keep it a one-score game. Bet on the Bears and do it at Bet Rivers. Denny Zeff, #Bears, is Darnell Mooney a top 3 rookie wide receiver? Not top 3. I mean, you got Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, Brandon Ayuk. Those are clearly the top 3 right there. There's some other guys who are good too. Henry Ruggs has still been better than Darnell Mooney, but Mooney, day 3 rookie wide receiver, not even close. He has been a great find for Ryan Pace, and that's what's frustrating about him as a GM. He does things like that where he finds guys in the 5th round where you're like, okay, that was sweet. But then he can't figure it out in the 1st round. So, it's been inconsistent from him. But Darnell Mooney, I think he's already your number 2 receiver, and I think you feel good about that moving forward. That's why it's so important to keep Allen Robinson as that number 1 possession type of receiver, and then Mooney's your speedster guy. Oompa Loompa, who is the top tackle in the 2021 draft? So it's between Penei Sewell and then this Northwestern guy who's gaining steam. I forget the guy's name, but I think it is Penei Sewell. Some other guys are Christian Darrisaw. Then you've got Samuel Cosme out of Texas as well. Those are probably your top 4. I still would go Sewell, but this Northwestern kid, you guys probably know his name because a lot of you are in Chicago. The name is skipping my brain for some reason. He's gaining legitimate steam here, but Penei Sewell, for me, is my number 1 guy at the tackle position, but you're probably not going to be able to draft him in 2021 because you're not picking half enough. What was that, Brett? Rashawn Slater, that's his name. Thank you very much. He's the Northwestern kid. Angels next up. What do we do with Eddy Pineiro? Cairo's the guy, right? Like, it sucks for Pineiro because he didn't do anything wrong, had a good year last year. By all accounts, was going to come in this year and have another good year, but had the groin injury, opened the door for Cairo Santos, and you have a top 5 kicker in 2020. Now, can he sustain it? Who knows? He's kind of been a journeyman, but for 2020, this guy has been one of the best kickers in the NFL. It's undisputed. Look at the numbers. He's 25 of 27. Like, he's been automatic. He's made 22 in a row. So I think you just have to say, sorry, Eddie, like, it's not your fault you lost your job. A guy came in here and he played at an all-pro level. That's just the way it goes sometimes. I think he will be on a different team in 2021. Oscar's next up here. Will the Bears draft a strong safety in the later rounds? Sure, possibly. We'll see what happens with Tayshaun Gibson and Deion Bush this offseason. I like the way Gibson has played next to Eddie Jackson. The safety position, I think the Bears feel okay enough at where they don't need to spend a high pick on them. So, yeah, I think a day 3 pick could make some sense if Gibson is not retained. Get subscribed to Chicago Bears Now, daily videos on your Bears. We're going to increase our coverage this offseason. We're not one of those channels that just does coverage during the season. Then, team misses the playoffs or loses early on, and we take 2 months off. That's not what we do here on the channel. We'll have mock drafts. We'll have free agency coverage, all kinds of stuff. And, hell, a lot of rumors flying around Matt Nagy and Ryan Pace, I'm sure. So go ahead and subscribe. And I can't wait to see how this quarterback thing plays out this offseason. So join in now so you can have fun once we get to the offseason. Kalen Williams is next up, #Bears. Why did Roquan get robbed of the Pro Bowl? Because the Pro Bowl voting process is stupid. I don't know. That's all there is to it. The Pro Bowl is a joke. If anybody, for example, if you're a Hall of Fame voter and you still look at Pro Bowl appearances, you should have your vote revoked because it has no indication of who is good at all. I'm sorry. He's a borderline all-pro linebacker this year, and he didn't get voted into the Pro Bowl. Makes no sense. Last one on this mailbag, Tamber the Lamber. Who do you think, or what do you think the Bears' record will be? They're at least 8-8. You're not losing to the Jags. I think Matt Nagy will be preaching all week, hey, don't be like the Rams and lose to the Jets. We're not going to be that team. That would be my message if I'm Nagy. So they'll be focused this week. They'll beat the Jags. And then it comes down to Week 17. I wish I knew if the Packers were full throttle in Week 17. Because if they're resting starters, I think the Bears will win that game. If they're full throttle, Rodgers is playing to win. That's going to be a tough ask based on recent history. I'll say 9-7, but I'm not super confident.